Welcome to the DISSCHOLARED podcast. My name is Anaya Lewis. I am the founder and CEO and executive director of the YesSheCanCampaign.
And I'm Blake, the community outreach and engagement director for the YesSheCanCampaign. Today, our DISSCHOLARED podcast will cover all things about education, college affordability, financial aid, financial wellness, scholarships, and more. Today, we're discussing scholarship award displacement. Scholarship award displacement is when one form of student financial aid, for example, a private scholarship, external scholarship, or outside scholarship, replaces another form of a student's financial aid. For example, an institutional scholarship or institutional grant. Depending on the university or college's private scholarship policy, the private scholarship can also impact a student's federal loan or federal work study package. Each university and college has its own private scholarship policy, and scholarship award displacement can impact need-based recipients.
So today we're going to also talk about our DISSCHOLARED platform. So DISSCHOLARED is an educational technology platform powered by the YesSheCanCampaign that helps students and families understand universities and colleges' private scholarship policies and the practice of scholarship award displacement. Our goal is to ensure students and families can make informed college and financial decisions. We just opened our online membership program and platform, and the DISSCHOLARED online membership platform is open to nonprofit leaders, scholarship providers, college access leaders, and professionals. The DISSCHOLARED online membership platform provides professionals with additional resources about scholarship award displacement through online resources, courses, workshops, newsletters, and more. And all proceeds will benefit the DISSCHOLARED program. In today's episode, we have Michele Waxman Johnson joining us to share her story about her groundbreaking involvement and fight to dismantle scholarship award displacement nationwide. Welcome our guest, Michele Waxman Johnson.
Thank you so much, Zanaya and Blake. It's great to be here.
We are so excited to have you here today. So, Michele, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your story, and your journey to dismantling scholarship award displacement, and a little bit of background about when you learned about this practice and how your involvement came to be what it is today?
Sure. Thank you. My grandparents were immigrants, and I was the first in the family to attend college and the first to graduate. And I graduated from the University of Maryland and then went on to get a master's in planning from the University of Virginia. I really believe that education is something that changes one's life story as well as the life story of future generations and their family. I'm a lifetime Marylander, born and raised in the Baltimore area, stayed in Maryland and still live there on the Eastern Shore, married with 2 children, both who are college graduates. And we're now raising our second family, two dogs. I'm a big believer in community service and was board chair of Congressman Elijah Cummings' youth program. And my current volunteer service is in political campaigns. Professionally, I served 10 years as vice president with a private scholarship provider in Maryland that helps low-income students with scholarships and interest-free loans. My first day on the job, I was told that we were going to have a financial literacy seminar focused on paying for college. We had a date and a place, but nothing else. And they told me that I was in charge. And that began our financial education series, sharing information that I believe all students and parents really need to know. Next, I was asked to build and lead a single issue state advocacy program focused on scholarship displacement. After a leadership change ended my 10 years there, we were giving away more than money. We also gave away information and we did advocacy. And in the meantime, we had also launched an emergency student aid program. So regarding scholarship award displacement, I've been active in the National Scholarship Providers Association for many years, and it was through NSPA that I first learned about this practice. NSPA issued a paper in 2013 that they called Impact of Award Displacement on Students and Their Families, Recommendations for Colleges, Universities, Policymakers, and Scholarship Providers. Once this paper was released, I was asked to build and lead a state advocacy program in Maryland focused on displacement. This effort was the first of its kind in the United States. I had no idea what I was doing and made things up as I went along, beginning with an op-ed that was published in the Baltimore Sun in July of 2015, that long ago, 7 years ago exactly. And I asked Maryland State Delegate Dana Stein to introduce a bill, spoke with some other organizations, and then spoke to the national experts who I knew from NSPA, Mark Kantrowitz and David Levy, who had our backs through the entire effort. I went to Annapolis to testify and then returned to meet with key leaders in the state legislature to ask for their support. There was one key committee chair who refused to meet with us or to answer phone calls or emails. And so I asked Congressman Elijah Cummings to reach out to her and just ask her to speak with us. And 5 minutes into the conversation, she said, I'm going to support this. And she was actually a committee chair in the Senate. And she became a huge champion for what we were doing. It was only because of Congressman Cummings that she did that. And then finally, in 2017, the state legislature passed this first in the nation bill, which the governor then signed into law, and it restricted scholarship displacement at four-year public universities in Maryland. Since the Maryland bill passed, I've spoken at conferences, meetings, and webinars telling the story of what we did in Maryland. There was great interest from other states, but nothing happened until my friend Zanaya got into the picture. And Zanaya's personal story became a huge game changer in what I would now call a movement. And when Zanaya became the force behind the state bill in New Jersey, as well as the national bill, the Helping Students Plan for College Act, it really opened the door for other states to have the courage to do what we had done in Maryland and what Zanaya made happen in New Jersey. So the New Jersey bill passed last year in 2021, and this year alone, we have now had two bills pass in Washington State and Pennsylvania. Both were signed into law by the governors, and both are now in effect. And there's also bills in California, Illinois, and with Wisconsin, and other states are interested. So at this point, we have had bills in 7 states, and we have laws in 4 of those states, which is very, very exciting. Something really, really interesting is the bipartisan aspect of this issue. And in some states, it is Democrats who have introduced the bill. In some states, it is Republicans. And there's very, very few no votes. And actually, once state elected officials learn about this practice, they generally say, wow, I know somebody that this happened to, or this happened to me. And there's very, very few no votes. So it's really, we have really begun a movement. One issue that really was a problem was lack of data. And there was no data. And in September of 2021, the website Student Beans conducted a student survey, a nationwide survey of students. And Mark Kantrowitz wrote about this survey and the findings in Forbes magazine. It found that 50% of students who earn private scholarships experience scholarship displacement. So now we have data. And now we know the scale of this problem, and it really is a big problem.
I agree. It is a huge problem, and it's really upsetting for myself because I was a personal victim, but also for a lot of students where they may not even know that they're victims of scholarship award displacement because all they see is that their financial aid package is getting updated consistently. So I just am thankful, Michele, for all the work you have done. You inspired everyone across this nation to stand up for what they believe in and to do what's right. So I'm so excited to learn that you started your own consulting business called Bold Thoughts Partners, LLC. And could you just explain a little bit more about your consulting business and just share with us why you decided to start it?
Sure, thank you. And I love talking about my consulting business, Bold Thought Partners, LLC. I launched it in June of 2021 after a leadership change at the nonprofit where I worked for 10 years resulted in my exit, and I applied for 37 jobs at that point. It wasn't having a lot of movement, and I just decided, what the heck? And so the day after I filed my business with the state of Maryland and with the IRS, I had a call from a Wall Street Journal reporter, Cheryl Winokur Monk, who was writing an article about scholarship displacement. What a fantastic way to begin my business, with a quote in the Wall Street Journal, which is nationwide. So what I do, I'm a national consultant, advocate, and coach for affordable, transparent, and equitable higher education. I started with one client who was a friend I knew from NSPA, and she works for the Matsu Health Foundation in Alaska. And they are a private scholarship provider for healthcare professions for students in Alaska. And she and her organization had an interest in scholarship award displacement. She called me her thought partner, and that's how I named my business. I added the word bold to make sure that in any alphabetical list, I'd be near the beginning of the alphabet. Since then, I've worked for some other clients. I've read freshman applications for a large public university, presented on finding and paying for college for a national scholarship provider. And I coached community colleges as they expanded programs to support the basic needs of their students. My focus areas are scholarship displacement, state advocacy, financial education on paying for college, and basic student needs programs. I've done a lot of pro bono work, presenting to coalitions of college access programs about scholarship award displacement, testifying for state bills in California and Washington, and helping you, Zanaya and Blake, and the Yes She Can campaign whenever you call on me to do anything. I'm still active in NSPA, and I've also joined NCAN, the National College Attainment Network, and I'm scheduled to speak about scholarship award displacement state advocacy at both of their national conferences this fall.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing about your business and all the work that you have been doing to dismantle scholarship award displacement. So our organization created the Scholar platform. We launched the platform last summer. And one of the resources that we have on our website is the database. And I believe that we've also spoke about this because when doing our research and advocacy work, we were like, there's no database or anything that really shows universities' private scholarship policies. There's nothing out there. So our organization decided let's do it ourselves. We talked to so many different tech companies about it, and no one really wanted to jump on it. So we thought that was a calling for us to do it ourselves. So how would you recommend people utilize the Scholar platform to navigate their college financial decisions?
And I really congratulate you for stepping in to fill this important need. And in the early days, as we were working on our bill in Maryland, I remember, having a spreadsheet and going in and checking the policies of the public and private universities in Maryland. And, and again, I noticed that gap. And so I'm really excited that the Yes She Can campaign has created this platform to fill that need. So here's the thing. I believe it is best to know before you go, and best to know before you owe, and best to know before you choose a college, whether the colleges that you're looking at are considering practicing, whether they practice scholarship displacement. I really encourage students, parents, school counselors, and college access advisors to log into the DISSCHOLARED platform and research and understand the policy of any and all colleges and universities being considered. And I would also recommend that students with financial need avoid choosing colleges that practice scholarship award displacement, because all of your hard work searching and applying for private scholarships will be null and void. And if a college or university that you are considering has no clear policy or no policy on their website, call the financial aid office, ask for their policy, ask for it on the phone, and ask them to send it to you or in writing. And if you cannot get the policy of the institution, or you cannot understand if it's not a clear policy, think twice about going there.
That is very insightful and amazing advice to give someone who's beginning their college journey or even in college and they're trying to navigate, is this still a good decision for me financially? So thank you for offering that advice. So earlier you mentioned that this movement has bipartisan support. However, we know that no fight to implementing change is ever easy. So what are some of the challenges and adversities you face as an advocate for this injustice?
Well, at worst, I've been screamed at, I've been bullied and threatened, believe it or not.
Wow.
There was one financial aid director who sent hate mail after my 2015 op-ed. And actually, I wrote and published 3 op-eds that year, and he sent hate mail after each one. When he testified against our bill in Maryland, he was so angry, it made me afraid, truthfully. The private colleges were not happy when we wanted to expand the restrictions to include them, and that there was a meeting which I will never forget the rest of my life. At best, I've been thanked, and my work has led to awards and requests for advice, and requests to testify for bills in other states, and that is the highest form of flattery, and it far outshadows all the challenges and the adversities. And I'm just thrilled. And honestly, after years, because our bill in Maryland passed in 2017, and I had to wait for my friends and I to do something before there was any more action. And I waited and waited, and I got to a point where I thought maybe Maryland is going to be the only state. And I was really disappointed about that. But now, with bills in 7 states and a national bill and four states with laws now, I mean, we really are seeing some great movement. I couldn't be more excited about where we are right now.
And I also want to piggyback on like what you were talking about the obstacles, because our organization also has faced a lot of obstacles. You were actually in one of the meetings where they tried to stop us from getting one of the bills, the federal bill, introduced. And just we started to see how a lot of companies actually wanted this practice to continue to happen, because this practice will continue to have them in business. And it's all about politics. And it's really sad because, we're both about students and making sure that everyone has the access to the resources and opportunities, and that college should be affordable for everyone. So we definitely both have experienced the obstacles together, and we've seen it. And we hope that, and we're grateful for everyone who has helped us and who has encouraged us to keep going, because that's really important. I think that's what we will continue to just continue to keep in mind. So Ms. Michele, and I'm sorry, I was supposed to call you Michele, but we are so glad for you. Also appreciate you for joining us today. We really appreciate you sharing your story and your time. And can you please let our community know where they can find you, whether that's your contact information, your website, your social media? Please let everyone know where they can find you.
Sure. My website is www.boldthoughtpartners.com. And in closing, I would love, and there is a way to send me a message through the website, so please do that. You can also find me on LinkedIn with my name, Michele, with 1 L, Waxman Johnson. And finally, I want to offer one piece of advice in closing, if that's okay. Everyone needs to become a financial aid expert. Every student, every parent, every college access advisor, and every school counselor really needs to be a financial aid expert. It's very, very complicated, which is a shame. It really should not be so complicated. learn about financial aid, learn about state aid in your state. My state, Maryland, is really, really generous. Learn about institutional aid and learn about private scholarships. Borrow as little as possible. And if that means you cannot go to your dream school, maybe you shouldn't go, because starting your adult life with 6 figures in undergraduate student debt is never worth it. It is never worth it. Be your own advocate, apply for private scholarships, and then choose a college or university that will allow you to keep your scholarships. And that is really my advice. And it has really been a pleasure being here with you today. And I'm just happy to continue to work together for the good of students in our country.
Thank you so much, Michele. And we thank you for your time, your mentorship, and your support with the Scholar, the Yes You Can campaign, and all the legislation that has been introduced and passed. We want everyone to know you can check out this podcast. We will provide a link in the description to our DISSCHOLARED website. We also have a DISSCHOLARED membership program that we launched this weekend. And that program, again, is for nonprofit leaders, scholarship providers, college access leaders, and professionals. This platform will allow us to raise money for the Scholar program, to allow our database to be free and all the resources on our website to be free for all students and parents and guardians. We also, if you have any questions about scholarship award displacement, please reach out to Michele or our organization. And to learn more about our fight to dismantle scholarship award displacement, we have our Forbes article on our website. So please read it to learn more about how you can be an advocate in your state and also on a national level. And then Blake, would you like to close us out?
Yes, everyone. So stay tuned for our next episode. Don't forget to let us know what content you all want to hear about, and stay tuned and join the climb. Thank you.